Ladies, it is time to stand on the stage of your self-esteem. It is time to realize that it is not your duty to save any human being except your nuclear family. It is not your job to save a grown-ass man from financial ruin. It is not your job to save a grown-ass man from his own emotional turmoil. It is not your job to save a grown-ass man from his own sexual irregulation. When are we going to accept that these beings need to take responsibility for their damn selves? Why are we being coddling grown human beings? Why are we giving grown human beings chance after chance? I actually want to talk about the story of Lilith because I believe that the Bible is a story of fables. It's just that it is the oldest book of fables that we have right now. But if you're a person who loves reading like myself, you will understand that all generations has had a collection of stories to pass down lessons and also to pass down ideologies in terms of politics. And sometimes the fables can be mixed with politics and sometimes they are mixed with spirituality. And in our generation, like in previous generations before, they didn't have the Bible. They had their own books, right? But in our generation, we have a Bible. But a Bible is a collection of fables. And it is a collection of fables that has been edited over time to suit the narrative of the dominant culture. Now, if you're not familiar with the story of Lilith, Lilith was the woman who was created in equal standing with Adam. So the way Adam was created from the sand, Lilith was also created from the sand. And Lilith was an individual, right? She was not a slave. She was not a helpmate to Adam. Lilith was very opinionated. She was an individual standing on her own 2 feet. Now, the problem that got Lilith kicked out, she didn't actually get kicked out, she left, is that while herself and Adam were being intimate, Lilith wanted to be on top. And Adam didn't want to be on top because to him, being on top while being intimate was a sign of power. And he was uncomfortable with Lilith having power over him. Now, Lilith didn't understand because Lilith thinks and believes that she is equal to Adam. So if she wants to be on top, she should also be given a chance to be on top. But Adam wouldn't have it. So Lilith was like, screw this, I'm leaving. If you're not going to allow me to exercise the right that I also have, you have, but I also have, I'm not going to stand for this, right? Do you notice that, before I continue the story, do you notice that in this example, Lilith noticed a red flag, and what did she do? She left. But in the example of Eve, Eve stood there, allowed herself to be the blame of the demise of the world, and didn't leave, and instead gave Adam babies and more babies and more babies. In these stories, Lilith is a person who has self-esteem, and Eve does not. Eve is a kind of person that is walked all over, that takes blame for things that she shouldn't take blame for, that is obedient, that is subservient, that is low self-esteem, and does not walk away when she sees the first red flag. She is willing to take the blame for all the wrongdoing in the relationship, even though it was not her fault. I've said this in previous videos, the fable of Adam and Eve. Adam had a choice. He could have said no, and he chose not to. And in practicing that choice, he blamed his decision-making to Eve. So in that example, it puzzles me because if men think that they're so strong, right? Why aren't they strong enough to take responsibility for their actions? Why aren't you strong enough to stand in the truth? But I want to continue the story of Lilith for a little bit. Lilith left what is this garden? Eden. Lilith left Eden, and she was just like, F this ish. I'm not going to stand around and be disrespectful because I'm equal, right? And this also brings me to the topic of men monopolizing all of the world's religions. Haven't you noticed how in today's religions, none of the religions actually glorify the power of a woman? None of the religions glorify the individuality and the strength that a woman brings into society. Like, for example, the strength of creating children. Haven't you ever wondered why that is? Why the most dominant religions on this earth have been monopolized by the male gender? It's because in the beginning of time, men were useless. They thought of themselves as very useless because they didn't understand, they didn't have the scientific knowledge that we have today about conception, right? So when women were falling pregnant, they thought that it was a divine occurrence. They thought that women were these beings that created human beings out of their bellies. They didn't know what their role was in the story of creation. They felt very powerless. Because also look at the female body. The female body was this body that miraculously created human beings. It was also this body that had an organ that was designed only for pleasure. Okay? And they could also partake in recreational intimacy. Because let's be honest, the way women relate to intimacy, or sex, and the way that men relate to sex are two different worlds. So when you look at the beginning of time, when people weren't really knowledgeable in the worlds of science, women were these creatures that could just create human beings out of the ether. Plus they had this thing attached to them that was only for pleasure. And they could also have sex recreationally. They could do anything. What is the purpose of a man in that scenario? When you're looking at a woman was a goddess. How do you think the men felt in that situation? Let's think about it. How do you think the men felt in that situation? In a situation where you feel like you're not the dominant power and the only thing that you have is your brutal force, how do you think the men felt and what do you think they did with that? Because they enjoy sex, right? They enjoy power. They enjoy dominance. And do you think they felt powerful and dominant in that scenario? Wouldn't it make sense that to make sure that future lineages of males feel dominant, you create an ideology that programs men and women to psychologically make men stay in power and women subservient and forget their own power? Ladies, that is why having self-esteem is a declaration of freedom. When you have self-esteem, it is like you're piercing through the veil and you're letting the light out. Having self-esteem is like you are doing it for the foremothers, our four grandmothers, who didn't have any power, who didn't have a choice to exercise their freedoms. The women before us didn't even have the right to walk around freely and do whatever they wanted. They didn't have the right to pursue their own passions unless it was under the accompaniment of a man. They didn't have the right to buy whatever they want unless the husband signed it off. How many books have been stifled because of this dominant ideology? How many creative pursuits, how many inventions have been stifled because of this ideology that would like us to believe that men created human beings? Having self-esteem not coddling grown adults, making sure that people, grown adults, especially if you're over the age of 25, if you're interacting with a man and that man does something that you do not like, effing walk away. There are plenty of men out there. Stop living in a scarcity mindset. Grow some self-esteem. If you don't have self-esteem, it means you have a scarcity mindset. You don't have the mindset that says that there is more out there. There's better out there for me. You need to live in a world of abundance. Don't let people use your niceness against you. Be nice to you. If somebody doesn't add, and a man especially, if a man does not add value in your life, why are you keeping him around? Stop enabling the entitlement of men. Do you know a lot of men wake up thinking that our job is to serve them? Do you understand that? Do you understand that a lot of men don't see us as human beings that are smart, that are creative? Because if they did, give this a try. Give this a try. Tell a guy that you are celibate and you're not looking for sex. And then tell me in the comments how long they're going to last in your life. Tell me in the comments. Go out and date and tell a guy who's in front of you that you are celibate. Even if you're not, just as a test, right? Just as a test. Tell him that, oh my gosh, you're so handsome. I really like you. I want to get to know you. But I just want you to know that I am celibate and I'm not going to practice sex because I just want to genuinely form an emotional connection with a person. And then tell me in the comments how long they're going to stay in your life. Don't change anything about your behavior. Continue being nice. Continue calling. Continue. Tell me how long they're going to be in your life. Tell me. Tell me. Guys, it's time for us to wake the fuck up. Grow some self-esteem. Grow some ovaries. You don't owe these people your labor. You don't owe these people your body. You don't owe these people children. Most men look at kids like pets. Oh, I want to have... You know the men that I've come across? I've never heard a man say they want one kid. It's always like 5, 3. Yeah, I want to have 3 kids. I want to have 5 kids. It's never just one. And when I look at the stats are not statting. The math is not mathing. Ladies, you are brave. If you are having kids with these men, you are brave. You are brave. You are brave. Screw the soldiers. Screw these other people in the front lines. You are putting your body through an ordeal and a half, and then it's also going to eat away at your money because for a year you're not a fully recovered human being. Your hormones are out of whack. Your body just took a knock. The trauma of your body, you are depressed. Your mental health is going downhill and the world is just continuing and going on. You have lack of sleep. And then it might also compromise your possibilities if you're working at a 9-to-5 for promotions, because if a school calls and says your child is doing 1, 2, 3, you need to attend to that. While the rest of us who don't have kids, we don't have those issues, so we can stay at the office. So you putting your income potential at risk. Yeah, you are brave. You are brave. That's the kind of bravery I don't have. But we're also all not the same. But I'm just saying, whatever you do, let it come from a place of self-esteem. Let it come from a place of loving yourself. There's a phrase somebody said, a friend of mine, I was calling them, and I told them that I'm in my selfish era. And he said that, no, don't call it selfish, call it self first. Now, I'm going to take selfish advice from a man. Listen here. If there's advice I'm going to take advice about how to be selfish from a man. That gender has the audacity that I want to emulate. So listen, I have great Guy friends, I know this is very dark, but I have wonderful guy, I'll call them acquaintances, that I get advice from about how to be selfish. And this guy put it in a wonderful way. He was like, don't call it selfish, call it self first. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. I'm in my self first era. I'm in my self first era. I like that. I like how that sounds. And ever since he gave me that word, it has never left my mind. It's self first here, baby. And it's self first because why? Because I love me. I love my body. I love my mental health. I love my peace. I love my health. Do you understand what stress does to the body? You guys are not serious. Do you understand what stress does to the body? Having self-esteem is about asking yourself the tough questions. Why can't you be alone? What are you so scared about? Why is being alone such a scary idea for you? What does loneliness, how does that make you feel? What does it remind you of? What is the first memory that you have in your mind about being lonely? And why did it feel so terrible? And I need you not to intellectualize it in your brain. I need you to feel that feeling. How did it make you feel? Did you feel abandoned? Did you feel scared? Did you feel rejected? Did you feel sad? Why did feeling rejected feel the way it felt for you? Are you scared of feeling rejected in this life? Why do you think those people rejected you? And why are you giving people who rejected you many years ago power over your life today? Would the past you like the fact that you are making less than great choices because of something that happened many years ago? Would that you who was rejected that many years ago, wouldn't you, that past you, want you to heal so that you make better decisions for yourself right now? Don't you want a life where you feel joy and you feel happiness? Why are you scared of being alone, ladies? Why are you scared of being by yourself? What are the feelings that you're running away from? Why are you scared of confronting them? Do you know that fear is something that makes the things that we fear bigger than what they may seem? Because the thing about fear is that once you face it, it stops existing. What are you so scared of? Because here's the thing, ladies. The thing that you're scared to confront, it means that you're scared to confront yourself. If you're scared of being alone, it means you're scared of yourself. And people can sense when you're scared to be alone, because you start entertaining subpar behavior just for having a presence around you. You start taking people back when they don't deserve your presence, when they should not be getting your presence. You start being susceptible to manipulation because you desire a presence so bad at whatever cost, even if it costs your financial health, even if it costs your physical health, even if it's at the cost of your mental health, because you cannot be by yourself. You are putting your life in danger. What are you afraid of facing in yourself? It's time for you to face it. If you're scared of being alone, you need to make time to be alone, because you're going to get yourself in trouble. If being alone is uncomfortable for you, you need to face that fear. If you have a car, and maybe you have a busy house, but you have a car, be in the car for an hour, for 30 minutes, with no music, and sit by yourself. Whatever emotions come up, sit in them. Sit in them, no matter how uncomfortable. Sit in those emotions and see what comes up. And do that as many times as possible. If you have a room in your house where it is yours, lock the door and sit by yourself for 30 minutes. Don't look at your phone. If you listen to music that makes you emotional. Whatever emotion comes up from you being by yourself, let those emotions come up. Give yourself the permission to feel those emotions. Give yourself the permission to feel those emotions. And then do that again and again and again. Choose a day. If Monday is your day where you feel like, yeah, I can actually give myself 30 minutes to be by myself, do that. Ladies, we need to overcome our fear of being alone, because once we confront ourselves, that is when we can be the most honest with ourselves. Because self-confidence, self-esteem is about being honest with yourself, being honest with who you are, being honest with what you have, being honest about your past, being honest about your present. It's all good to be saying, oh yeah, I'm confident, but you can't even confront your past. How can you be truly confident if you're ashamed of confronting your past? Confident people embrace the fear, the hurt, the shame of the things that they went through, so that nobody in their present life can use it against them. We have to heal our wounds of shame. We have to heal our wounds of sadness. We have to heal our wounds of heartbreak from our past, so that nobody can use it in our present to manipulate us. And the only way you can do that is if you spend time by yourself. Even if you go to therapy, the therapy is definitely going to help you to give you a vocabulary about the things that you've experienced and the feelings that you're feeling. But even after that, you need to be able to spend time by yourself. That's where your self-esteem is going to come from. We need to be able to look at these things that are labeled imperfections. I don't believe in the concept of imperfections, because when you look at nature, when you look at trees, no tree looks the same, but when you look at them together, they look beautiful. Imperfections are, it's an idea, it's a concept, it's an idiom that I don't subscribe to. But when you look at the things that you may not like, okay, let's talk about weight. You look in the mirror, you don't like the fact that you are chubby, okay? You need to look at yourself and be like, is this a state that I would love to continue for the rest of my life? If the answer is no, then ask yourself, okay, then why do you enable this behavior even though you don't want to have it? Then that is going to unpack the relationship you may have with food. Is food a resource that you use to comfort yourself? Are you open and willing to find healthier options or healthier ways to comfort yourself? Then you know the task for the week is find healthier ways to comfort yourself. When you know that you're feeling sad, find YouTube, list different ways that you can comfort yourself instead of eating, and then choose to do those things. And then the next week on Sunday, when you're having time with yourself, ask yourself, okay, now that I know what to do not to comfort myself when I'm feeling sad, what else can I do to make sure that I get closer to the goal of being a little bit leaner? You have the power and the control to change your life. Do you believe in the power of willpower? Do you believe in the power of choice? The excuses that you are telling yourself, they make sense, but they're not helping you. Yeah, but it's taking a lot of time. Yeah, but I don't have time. But you have time to look at your phone. Yeah, but you have time to listen to this. May we have the self-esteem to be the fullest version of ourselves. May we have the self-esteem to create the creations that benefit not only ourselves, but the women that are around us. May we be the women that our foremothers prayed for when they had no choice in the world, when they could not be or do anything that they put their minds to. We are the generation that can do and be anything that we put our minds to. And may we walk around in this world with that knowing. May we walk around prioritizing our healing. May we get to know ourselves. May we embrace our pasts. May we forgive those we need to forgive. May we let go of whatever we need to let go. May we adopt habits that empower us, that strengthen us, that give us confidence, that enable our healing. May we walk away from situations that no longer serve us. May we not coddle men. May we not feed the entitlement of men who believe that we are servants. May we look at ourselves and see ourselves as the goddesses, as the divine creators that we were once worshipped to be until men monopolized the world religions. Ladies, I hope you have a beautiful day and see you at the next one.